वर मोहम्मद आल मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु। एक बात याद दिला दूँ, सब लोग यहाँ काफ़ी सीरियस बैठे हुए हैं। मौला अली की विलादत है, थोड़ा सा मजलिस के माहौल से निकल के मीलाद की तरफ आए। इसने इतने अच्छे अच्छे शेर पढ़े। एक बार दूध भेजिए मोहम्मद आल मोहम्मद। एक रुबाई है जो यहाँ जो ऑडियंस है उसके लिए नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी पढ़ रहा हूँ। दूध भेजिए मोहम्मद आल मोहम्मद। पहले अली के बोझ से दिल अपना साफ कर। पहले अली के बोझ से दिल अपना साफ कर, फिर अपने इस गुनाह का तू एतराफ कर। हो जाएगा कबूल तेरा हज, मगर ये सुन पहले अली का नाम ले और फिर तवाफ कर। दूध भेजिए मोहम्मद आल मोहम्मद। इख्तिसार के साथ सिर्फ चंद अशार। एक बार फिर दूध भेजिए मोहम्मद आल मोहम्मद। छेड़ दिया है जिक्रे मौला, छेड़ दिया है जिक्रे मौला, मिंबर जाने हैदर जाने। कुफ्र है गर ये इश्क अली का, कुफ्र है गर ये इश्क अली का, काफिर जाने हैदर जाने। छेड़ दिया है जिक्रे मौला, बिन्ते असद तो जाएंगी हर हाल में काबे के अंदर। बिन्ते असद तो जाएंगी हर हाल में काबे के अंदर। दर होगी दीवार कहाँ से मादर जाने हैदर जाने। छेड़ दिया है जिक्रे मौला, इस्माइल ये सोच रहे थे क्यों गर्दन पर हाथ नाम अली है मेरे लबों पर, खंजर जाने हैदर जाने छेड़ दिया है जिक्र मौला। जंग ओहद में मेरा मौला साफ से सर करता है कलम। जंग ओहद में मेरा मौला शाख से सर करता है कलम। तेग फलक से आए न आए लश्कर जाने हैदर जाने छेड़ दिया है जिक्र मौला। मिंबर जाने हैदर जाने। आखिरी शेर। इश्क़ अली के दावेदारो रब की इबादत लाजिम है। इश्क़ अली के दावेदारो रब की इबादत लाजिम है। ये कह कर मत जान छुड़ाओ महशर जाने हैदर जाने छेड़ दिया है जिक्रे मौला। मिंबर जाने हैदर जाने। दुरूद भेजिए मोहम्मद वाला। मुल्तमस मेहदी भाई से क्या आगे कुछ अशार पेश करें। दुरूद भेजिए मोहम्मद वाला।
दुरूद भेजिएगा। ऐ खुदा तुझको ही ज़ेबा है खुदाई तेरी। ऐ खुदा तुझको ही ज़ेबा है खुदाई तेरी। बेनियाज़ी तो किसी ने भी न पाई तेरी। जागने वाले को महरूम दो आलम रखा। जागने वाले को महरूम दो आलम रखा। सोने वाले से कहा सारी खुदाई तेरी है खुदा तुझको ही हरम की गोद में इस तरह बूतराब आए, हरम की गोद में इस तरह बूतराब आए, नबी के क़ल्ब पे जैसे कि अलकिताब आए, हरम की गोद में मैं उस इमाम का क़ाइल हूँ जिस महफिल से, मैं उस इमाम का क़ाइल हूँ जिस की महफिल से मेरे सवाल से पहले मेरा जवाब उठा लिया दर खैबर तो जा हैरत क्या, उठा लिया दर खैबर तो जा हैरत क्या, ये हुक्म दे तो हथेली पे आफ़ताब आए, ये हुक्म दे तो हथेली पे आफ़ताब आए, विलादत शह मर्दां का ज़िक्र काबे में, विलादत शह मर्दां का ज़िक्र काबे में, जो दर से पूछो तो दीवार से जवाब आए, जो दर से पूछो तो दीवार से जवाब आए, इसीलिए हुई वही ये किताब में ताख़ीर, इसीलिए हुई वही ये किताब में ताख़ीर, अली किताब सुना लें तो फिर किताब आए, यानी शदीद हुजूम दर्द में कंजे लहद में महशर में हुजूम दर्द में कंजे लहद में महशर में कहाँ कहाँ मेरे मौला अबू तुराब आए, कहाँ कहाँ मेरे मौला अबू तुराब आए। फ़क़त ज़बान से निज़ाम जहाँ न बदलेगा, फ़क़त ज़बान से निज़ाम जहाँ न बदलेगा। अली को दिल से पुकारो तो इनक़लाब आए, अली को दिल से पुकारो तो इनक़लाब आए। हरम की गोद में इस तरह बू तुराब आए, नबी के क़ल्ब पे जैसे कि अलकिताब आए। हरम की गोद में
मुल्तमिस हुसैन नजम से क्या के कलाम पर है। दूध भेजी मोहम्मद आले मोहम्मद।
बारी दीगर सलावत। नादे अली का विर्द जो करती चली गई, उम्रे रवा सुकून से गुजरती चली गई। जिसने दरे हुसैन पे सर को झुका दिया, वो शख्सियत जहां में उभरती चली गई। नादे अली का विर्द जो सलवात पर मोहम्मद वाले बेकसों के मददगार मौला जुज तेरे कोई अपना सहारा नहीं। तेरा दर छोड़ कर जाए आखिर कहाँ, गैर का दर जबी को गवारा नहीं। बेकसों के मददगार मौला जुज तेरे कोई अपना सहारा नहीं। आए काबे में जिस दौं अली के कदम, मुंह के बल गिर पड़े ये कहते हुए, तुम्हारा ही घर है हमारा नहीं। आइए आइए जानशीने नबी, ये तुम्हारा ही घर है हमारा नहीं। सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद।
शुक्रिया, बहुत खूब, माशाल्लाह। इससे पहले कि मैं हसन भाई को बुलाऊं, फिर मैं एक सूरह फातिहा तमाम मरूमीन के लिए, वो जो अनाउंसमेंट होगी उसमें होगा ही, लेकिन मैं कुछ नाम लेना चाह रहा था जिन्होंने ख़ास तौर से कहा है उनके मरूमीन के लिए पढ़ने के लिए। अपने मरूमीन को याद रखिए, तमाम उलमा, तमाम शुहदा मुकावमत के एक एक फ़र्द को याद रखिए और उनमें शामिल कर लीजिए फ़िरोज़ अहमद जैदी, अज़हर जैदी और जैदी ख़ानदान के तमाम और अपने मरहूमीन को। अल्लाह हसन भाई बिस्मिल्लाह। और मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद सलवात।
बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद बुलंदर सलावत। एक बार मिल के आवाज बुलंद सलावत। आप तमाम मोमिनीन को जश्न विलादत इमाम अली बहुत बहुत मुबारक हो। अपने वक्त के इमाम की बारगाह में भी तहनीत पेश करते हैं। उसी सिलसिले में कुछ कलाम, ये महीना ही पूरा अली भाई विलादतों का और खुशियों का महीना है, तो बस वक्त को नज़र में रखते हुए चंद अशार। सोते ही कब थे साक़िए कौसर, तमाम रात सोते ही कब थे साक़िए कौसर, तमाम रात करते थे ज़िक्र खालिक़े अकबर, तमाम रात करते थे ज़िक्र खालिक़े अकबर, तमाम रात बेदार बख्तिये शब हिजरत गवाह है, बेदार बख्तिये शब हिजरत गवाह है, बस एक बार सोए है हैदर, तमाम रात सोते ही। बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु। जैसा कि पहले अर्ज़ किया कि ये पूरा महीना ही विलादतों का महीना है, और आज बिलखुसूस हम विलादत और जश्न जो मना रहे हैं इमाम अली अलैहिस्सलाम का, और अभी कुछ दिन पहले इसी अली के पोते की विलादत गुजरी। तो बस उसी सिलसिले में जनाब अली असगर बाबुल हवाइज के सिलसिले में कुछ अशार बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद बुलंदतर सलावत। तीरों का सामना है और मुस्कुरा रहे हैं, तीरों का सामना है और मुस्कुरा रहे हैं। किस खानदान से हैं, किस खानदान से हैं, असगर बता रहे हैं, तीरों का सामना है। अली भाई, कुरान में जिक्र हुआ काबा की तामीर का कि दो मासूमों ने मिलके काबा की तामीर की। वो थी तामीर। करबला में क्या हुआ? काबा बना रहे थे बेटा लिए इब्राहीम, काबा बना रहे थे बेटा लिए इब्राहीम, बाबा के साथ असगर, बाबा के साथ असगर, काबा बचा रहे हैं, तीरों का सामना है। पहले ही करबला का हमसे नहीं था कोई, पहले ही करबला का हमसे नहीं था कोई, उसका जनाब असगर कद और बढ़ा रहे हैं, तीरों का सामना है और मुस्कुरा रहे हैं। बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद बुलंदतर सलावत। मिलके एक बाबा से बुलंदतर सलावत। अली के चाहने वाले अकीदा खास रखते हैं, अली के चाहने वाले अकीदा खास रखते हैं, खुदा के सामने बारा वसीला खास रखते हैं, अलम को चूम कर ना दे अली लब पर सजाते हैं, अलम को चूम कर ना दे अली लब पर सजाते हैं, हिसारे दर्द गम में हम वजीफा खास रखते हैं, कोई दौलत कोई शोहरत कोई जन्नत का ख्वाह है, कोई दौलत कोई शोहरत कोई जन्नत का ख्वाह है, मगर जो भी हुसैनी है तमन्ना खास रखते हैं। और गंज शहीद ने एक शेर अर्ज किया है, कज़ा कहती है कातिल से शहीदाने वफा है जो, कज़ा कहती है कातिल से शहीदाने वफा है जो, लहू गिरने से पहले ही ठिकाना खास रखते हैं। गदीरे खुम से लेकर ता बहंगा में सफ़े महशर, गदीरे खुम से लेकर ताबा हंगामे सफ़े महशर, मिजाजे हक परखना हो तो नारा खास रखते हैं। और आखिरी शेर अर्ज़ किया है, किसी का पीर है कोई किसी का पीर कोई है, किसी का पीर है कोई किसी का पीर कोई है, किसी का हो कोई लेकिन हम अपना खास रखते हैं, किसी का हो कोई लेकिन हम अपना खास रखते हैं। अली के चाहने वाले अकीदा खास रखते हैं। पर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद बुलंद सर।
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Please recite a Surah Al-Fatiha for our mu'mineen, for our marhumin and your marhumin. And please remember the shuhada of Islam, especially the shuhada of Gaza, of Parachinar, and everywhere where the Muslims are being oppressed. We would like to congratulate the Imam first and foremost, and then all of the mu'mineen and the mu'minat on the occasion of the birth of Imam Ali. I'd like to request the brothers to please come a bit forward. Now I would like to welcome Sayyid Abbas to come up and deliver the speech. Please recite 3 loud salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. Congratulations for the wiladat of Imam Ali alayhi salam, to the dear brothers, to the dear sisters, and especially to those in some cultures we celebrate this as Father's Day, because the father of us is Rasulullah and Imam Ali alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. It is an honor to be here and to be able to actually remember Imam Ali alayhi salam during the actual night, the night of the 13th. Sometimes we have programs that, it passes a few days and you do it once a week, but to actually remember that special night, because in such a night is that night, the light of Imam Ali alayhi salam is such a day, that light and nur came from the heavens to this world. So therefore, we as followers of Ali Muhammad, we are very happy and we are honored to have such a light and nur come to earth. And that when such a light and nur leaves, we are very saddened. So therefore, we need to teach this to our children. This ishq that you have, this love that you have for Imam Ali. We need to teach it to our children that when they're growing up here, that the 13th of Rajab is a very honorable day. The 13th of Rajab is one of those nights that whatever you want from Imam Ali alayhi salam, Allah will give to you. Some of our ulama like Allama Amini would speak about the fada'il. He wrote the book Al-Ghadir for Imam Ali alayhi salam, and he would speak, he wouldn't stop speaking, they say, until he got his hajat, until he got what he wanted from Allah. So these nights, remember, it's very important. We have many different needs. We have many different things that we are praying for. One of the things we're praying for is protection from this adab that we see, this fire that is happening in Palisades and Pasadena. At the beginning, when I had news of this fire, I heard 4 people in our community, their homes were on fire from the followers of Ali Muhammad. Then time passed and time passed. Each one of them, I called, they investigated. As you know, that when they evacuate, they can't go back to their homes. But then the first one, which most of these were the most pious people that I knew. They would help in the masjids. Some of them were mothers that didn't have any husbands. They lived at home in, for example, Palisades. Their son was a sheikh, for example. Some of them, I would call, and alhamdulillah, I found out today was the last one, that all 4 of these followers, all of them, their homes were protected and their homes were not destroyed. And yet, they went to and visit, they said all the other homes were destroyed, but these were protected. It doesn't mean necessarily that if somebody here or somebody we know, their home is destroyed, that means that they're a bad person or they're not pious enough. But also we have to recognize the mercy of Allah. We have to recognize when Allah saves us, and the tradition has about this, when misery or trials fell on others, you should quietly, in a way they don't understand, say Alhamdulillah, because Allah has protected you. Say Alhamdulillah, Allah has protected you. Or you hear this tradition, one of the mujtahideen called me from Qom and said, tell the people, tell them to recite this, line, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim. There's no power, there's no force except from Allah. Because if the entire firefighting force from California, Utah, Idaho, Arizona, they all come to turn off a fire that Allah wants to burn, they cannot. So then I looked and I saw a tradition. Actually, this was from Imam Ali that he taught. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, when there's shiddah, you say this, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-azim. Repeat this, say this, and it'll be sufficient for you. It'll be sufficient for you. So we are protected. I truly believe from Ameen and Mu'mineen alayhi salam, we are protected. And we're honored to be of his followers. A person, they say, once was in the grave, and he saw the 2 angels come. Very scary looking, these 2 angels are. And he was about to be punished. He was about to be chastised in the grave. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam tells us, I worry about the grave for you. The grave, the barzakh. He was worried. He was about to be punished until this person comes. A source of light comes in the grave. And the angels, immediately they stop their threatening. They respect him and they leave. He finds out, he says, I am Amir al-Mu'mineen. I am Ali ibn Abi Talib. I've come for you. And you know, when the Imams, they say, when you visit me, we come and visit you. When you do ziyarat of Imam Ali, he comes and does ziyarat of you. Remember this. A person used to go to the shrine of Imam Rida alayhi salam from Iraq. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Every week or every month he used to go. So much that there was a caravan of people, whoever from Iraq wanted to go to Mashhad. Iraq go to Mashhad. Finally, they asked him in the other world, they said, he passed away, he says, this many times, 50, 60, 70 times you visited Ali ibn Musa Rida. What happened? He says, the first night when I came to the grave, he came and visited me. And he says, I still owe you, say 50 more visits. You visit me, for example, 49, 50 times, I am going to come and visit you 50 times back. But the difference is what happens when Imam comes to visit us? Everything is removed. All the trials, tribulations, adab is removed. So he sees Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam in the grave. And now he says, all the punishment's gone because Imam Ali came. And now he asks, well, where are you going? I want to go with you. Where are you going? And he mentions to him, you know, in this report that I heard, he says, I mentioned to him, you cannot be with me. You cannot come with me because you did not live like me. You did not live like me. Oh, Imam Ali will protect you. But if you want to be with him in dunya and akhir, brothers and sisters, you have to have Imam Ali part of your life. We're going to mention the fada'il of Imam Ali alayhi salam tonight. But the most important lesson is to make your lives alawi. Make your lives in a way that Imam Ali alayhi salam is like when you look at a mountain, a peak. He's the highest peak. He is Mount Everest, higher than Mount Everest for us. What's important, you might not reach Mount Everest, but what is important, you are facing Mount Everest. You're walking towards it. You know you're in the right direction. I'm going to mention, inshallah, a few verses of the Holy Quran about Imam Ali alayhi salam. Then I'm going to mention a hadith that is a very beautiful hadith from Rasulullah about the fada'il and virtue of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and I'll end, inshallah, with a saying from him. Generally, maybe, I'm sure you've heard of this, but the younger, they don't know this. The fact that we have so many virtues of Imam Ali alayhi salam in the books is a miracle of Allah. The fact that, for example, scholars like Ahmad ibn Hanbal, who's Hanbali, he says that no companion has as many fada'il as Ali alayhi salam. This is a miracle. Why? Why do you think it's a miracle? Because for almost 100 years they cursed Imam Ali. For 100 years they were enemies of Imam Ali alayhi salam. There's, you know, the Shamis, the Umayyads, this masjid that today they come, these different groups come and they do the Salat al-Jum'ah and the masjid, you know, the Umayyad masjid or whatever. These are masjids that on the pulpits they used to curse Imam Ali. And one time they forgot, the Khatib forgot. And you know the Salat al-Jum'ah of the Shamis, sometimes it was not on Friday, it was Saturday because they were intoxicated, they forgot. Sometimes it has in Muruj al-Dhahab, Muawiyah wanted to go on vacation, so he did Salat al-Jum'ah on Wednesday so that he can go on vacation on Friday, go hunting. This is the Salat al-Jum'ah of the Shamis. Anyway, so he forgot to curse Imam Ali alayhi salam. So then he goes and stops there, and 1,000 times he curses our Mawla. 1,000 times. They build a masjid there. This is a masjid. This is a holy place. This is the place where they curse Ali alayhi salam. Do you think it was only in Syria where they used to curse him? They cursed him in Isfahan. Always we think of Iran, you know, the center of Shiism. There was a time period in history where the main cities of Iran were Nawasib or Nasibi. They tell Isfahan, it's over. Do not curse Ali alayhi salam anymore. Isfahan says, please give us a few months. Please give us a few months. We're used to it. We have to break this habit. So I want this context that I gave you, that they banned the narrations from being shared. Man o tadwina hadith. They stopped the hadith. They stopped any virtue. When they came to the new bilad, the new nations, they said only recite Quran. Yet we see as a miracle that after the Umayyads, after the Abbasids, you see that no other companion has as many virtues written as Shia and Sunni as Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Please recite salawat. And to say it more accurately, because Sunnis have this in their book, they say a person came and asked and said, who is the best companion? Who is the best companion of Rasulullah? He mentioned this person, Falani, 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 Falani. And he says, in this list, you didn't say Ali alayhi salam. You said everyone else. You didn't say Ali. Wasn't he one of the main companions? He says, I thought you asked me about the companions. You didn't ask me about the nafs, the John, the soul of Rasulullah. Please recite another salawat. So to be more exact, he is not a companion, he is nafs of Rasulullah. According to Holy Quran, when they asked Imam Rida alayhi salam Ma'mun, they asked him which verse of the Holy Quran is the highest for Imam Ali. He mentions verse of Mubahila. Remember, those that are young, 361, that this verse, when the Christians of Najran came to argue with Rasulullah and made to make dua against him and maybe 70, 80 very pious people, Rasulullah only brings a few people instructed by Allah. He only brings Lady Fatima alayhi salam, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, Imam Ali alayhi salam. Now let's recite another salawat. Even though it makes sense to bring ladies, to bring all the pious ladies, it says Nisa, only one, because no one can compare to Lady Fatima. To bring sons, you'd bring so many sons, but only Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, which are actually grandsons, but they're the sons of Rasulullah. And for anfusana wa anfusakum, bring yourselves. He could have just brought himself, but he brought Imam Ali alayhi salam with himself. So that shows us Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Milani, who's a very strong alim, one of the students of Ayatollah Wahid. His books are not allowed in Saudi Arabia to be printed. He says that according to this, when you are the nafs and the soul of Rasulullah, you inherit all the positions of Rasulullah. When you say someone's the nafs, when someone is the same, except ma kharaja bid dalil, except what the Prophet excluded and says, La nabiyya ba'di. So he has all the positions, all the manaqib of Rasulullah, except he's not a prophet. So he has the position of judgment, position of tafsir of Quran, position of tabyin ahkam wa aqaid, to explain all of these, the position of being the ruler of the Muslimin, except he's not a prophet. So therefore this one ayah, 361, chapter 361, Mubahila, introduces Imam Ali as the nafs. And we say this to the world, we say this to all Muslims. Who would you want to be your imam after Rasulullah? The nafs of Rasulullah or someone else besides Rasulullah? Say the nafs, the soul of the Prophet. Then why didn't you follow this verse? Then we have other verses of Holy Quran. And many, many verses of Quran are for Imam Ali alayhi salam. When they came in Laylatul Mabid, they came to kill Rasulullah. Every different tribe said, we bring one person so that they can't blame one tribe. We're going to kill him because we're tired. After 13 years of Mecca, we're tired. So Imam Ali alayhi salam, he volunteers. He says, I will sleep in the place of Rasulullah in a death that was going to happen for sure. They were going to kill Rasulullah. I will sleep there, so when these 40 swords come in, they will hit me and Rasulullah will go to Medina. Quran comes and says about this action of Imam Ali. It says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ. There are these people who sell their souls. They sell everything they have for Allah so they can seek His satisfaction. So Imam Ali in Quran in this verse, 207, Laylatul Mabid, is the one who sold himself completely. We can't even give up a little bit of our money sometimes. We can give a little bit of our honor for Islam. Quran says Imam Ali sold himself for Allah. He sold his entire existence. Let me give you more verses of Holy Quran. I'm sure you've heard of 5:55, where Allah says, إِنَّمَا وَلِيكُمُ اللَّهُ وَالرَّسُولُ وَرَسُولُ. Your wali, who has guardianship over you, is Allah, the Rasul. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَهُمْ رَاكِعُونَ. Those that are establishing prayer, they're giving zakat, while, thank you, while they are wahum rakum, while they are doing ruku. This waw in Arabic is called waw al-haliya, meaning in the state of. In Arabic grammar, they say this. This wahum raka'un is the waw that's haliya, meaning they give zakat while in ruku. Imam Ali AS, according to Shia Sunni tafsir, he gave his ring during his salat. So he is the wali of the believers, according to 555 of Quran. Or you have verse 33, purification, Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, that in Sahih Muslim mentions as well, many of our sources, that these were the 5 that were thoroughly purified. Tathir, verse of purification. Who? Imam Ali, Lady Fatima, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and Rasulullah. Wife asked, can I be part of them? Prophet says, no. Ha'ula'i Ahlul Bayti. They are my Ahlul Bayt. Don't interpret Ahlul Bayt as wives, because Rasulullah in Sahih Muslim says, this is my Ahlul Bayt. So would you want your leader to be thoroughly purified? Would you want to choose? We believe that, for example, Imam Ali AS was chosen by God, but those that say we want to choose somebody, would you rather have someone who's infallible or someone who's not infallible? Other verses, 13:7, إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُنذِرٌ وَلَكُلِّ قَوْمٍ حَادٍ. Rasulullah, you are the mundir, you warn, while every group has a had, has a guidance. I was looking at the work of Mir Hamid Hussain Laknawi. He's a great Indian scholar who has his book, Abaqat. They call him Sahib Abaqat. He has a section, on this verse and brings multiple hadith from Ahlul Sunnah Shia that when it says, وَلَكُلَّ قَوْمٍ عَادٍ, and every group has a guider. Who is it, the guide? Imam Ali alayhi salam. So Rasulullah, you are the mundir, you warn, but the guidance and the continuation of guidance will be from Imam Ali. Please recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Multiple narrations, verses of Quran, we can keep continuing, but this was just a little glimpse of how Imam Ali is in the Holy Quran, while others are not. Others don't have these verses about them. Guidance, brothers and sisters, is of 3 types. If somebody is going to be guided, they get guided by 3 ways. One is that you get guided by someone's speech. Someone gives you good speech, gives you good nasihat, gives you good advice, you get guided. 2, guidance is by one's actions. Sometimes you watch somebody, they don't say anything, but they live their life in a way as a perfect role model, so you learn from them. And the 3rd type of guidance is the guidance of metaphysical guidance, meaning by the Spirit, meaning that they take your spirit and they save you. All of these 3 types of guidance is from Imam Ali alayhi salam. I'm going to mention all 3 of them. One type of guidance we have is by speech. And we see how many narrations from Imam Ali alayhi salam we have, that is words of speech. Once, a professor that was working in the Sunni areas in Iran, he just told the Sunni students, he didn't say whose sayings these are. He just wrote on the board. These sayings from Imam Ali, he didn't say they're from Imam Ali. He wrote many of the beautiful hadith, and I want you right now to think how many beautiful narrations and hadith you have from Imam Ali alayhi salam. And then he wrote sayings of the 1st and 2nd Khalifa, 3rd Khalifa. He didn't say who they are. He really didn't. He says, my dear students, look at these 2 types of narrations. This is saying of one group, this is saying of a group. They said, why are you wasting our time? What's the 2nd group? What are these sayings? And they didn't know that this was from their own khulafa. I said, what is this? This is good. Be like this one. He didn't say this is Imam Ali, this is the other one. I want you just to compare the sayings of Imam Ali, the hadith of Imam Ali, from Nahjul Balagha, from other sources, and compare it with others. It should just be very objective. Sometimes Christians are not Muslim, right? Christians like George Jordan, he's Christian. He came and read Nahjul Balagha, maybe he said 600, 700 times. He said, I used to ditch school and go under the river to read Nahjul Balagha of Imam Ali. After reading this Nahjul Balagha, he said this statement: if God takes away all of our ni'mah, all of our blessings, imagine our wealth, our health, everything, takes away from all of humanity, everything, but instead gives one Ali ibn Abi Talib, it would be worth it. Please recite salawat. So the saying is this. The saying is, Imam Ali alayhi salam beautifully tells us, Al-muta'abbid ala ghayra fiqhin kahimar al-tahuna yadur wala biyabra. A person that doesn't have knowledge, doesn't spend time seeking knowledge, is like, he gives the example of a mill donkey. Back then when they wanted to, take grains and to make them prepared to make flour, they would have an animal go in a circle. In Farsi we say asiyab. I don't know if Urdu is the same thing. We have asiyab. And he would take these and prepare it for flour. He says a person worships Allah but doesn't seek knowledge, isn't literate, Islamically literate, you're just going to go in a circle, in a circle, in a circle, in a circle. You're not going to go anywhere. So he tells us about the importance of having ma'rifah. The importance, some people, I have discussions with people in the community, they think that, no, it's good, let's just worship Allah, say 13, 14, let's just worship. Now that I'm worshiping, I'm fasting, I don't need to read anymore. I don't need to study anymore. I don't need to attend any more classes. But the problem that Imam Ali alayhi salam says that muta'abbid, that person that is just worshiping, but doesn't have knowledge, is never going to get anywhere. And you see many of the problem that he always had with his followers, that they left him alone, is because they didn't have that basira. They didn't have that wisdom. So therefore we continue, and he says later on, لَأَنَّ الْعَالِمِ, that person who has knowledge and studies and knows, that scholar, تَأْتِيهِ الْفِتْنَةِ يَخْرُجُ مِنْهُ بِعِلْمِهِ وَتَأْتِي الْجَاهِلِ فَيَنْفِسُهُ نَسَفًا. But when someone who has knowledge, there comes a test to him, he knows how to handle it. He knows how many of our ulama, our scholars that today are maraja, our scholars, how many of them have saved us with their knowledge, with their decisions, our maraja. As long as we're under their guidance of the maraja of our scholars, we will be saved because they have that knowledge. So one advice that tonight I want to say is seek knowledge, brothers and sisters, from Imam Ali alayhi salam. Study. Remember that one of the best important actions we can do is study. Read the Quran, learn it, study it, read the tafsir, attend classes, learn your ahkam. Every year you should encourage yourself to seek more knowledge, to do more worship. Never leave knowledge out. Inshallah, we can have more of this, inshallah, in our centers. Action. Imam Ali alayhi salam was known for his action. Imam Ali alayhi salam was known for his action. George Jordal does a very amazing job in his book of Voice of Human Justice. He's Christian, but he compares human rights of Imam Ali alayhi salam to the United Nations Charter of Human Rights. He compares. He has different sections in his book, like Imam Ali and Socrates, for example. Imam Ali and justice. And he says that, this book was written in the 1950s, 1960s, during a time when these new rules were established for the world, United Nations human rights. And he compares it with Imam Ali's justice. And he says there's four main differences. One, he says that the Charter of United Nations was written by thousands of intellectuals. But when you look at the idalat and justice of Imam Ali, one person, first of all. The sayings of Imam Ali, 1 versus 1,000. 2, he says that Imam Ali alayhi salam lived 1400 years ago. The Human Rights Charter was written in modern times. They had a chance to learn from the previous statements. Third, he says the third difference is that when they wrote the Charter for Human Rights, they were very proud, arrogant. Look what we wrote. Everyone has to follow this. The world has to do whatever we do. But Imam Ali was never proud about this, was never boasting or arrogant. But the fourth thing that he says is the biggest difference from the justice of Imam Ali and the United Nations is that Imam Ali alayhi salam really stood for justice. And wherever he saw injustice, there he would unsheath his sword and fight for the madlum. Imam Ali alayhi salam really believed in this. And one of his last statements when hidden by Ibn Muljam, he says to be to the zalim khasman and to be for the mazlum awnan, be a helper for the mazlum and be to the opposition to the oppressor. He tells Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein alayhi salam this. But he says that the United Nations, and I think we witness this the most, that we see genocide, starvation. One of the reasons they put Netanyahu's name on as a criminal is because he purposely, it says, states on there, International Criminal Court, that he starves children, he starves people. Yet the world does nothing. The world actually aids them still. So the biggest difference, as one of the scholars said, he says, next time you talk to me about human rights after seeing Gaza, I'm going to take my shoe and throw it at you. Stop talking about human rights. Because you found out everything you say about human rights is fake. But Imam Ali really stood for justice. He really stood for the mazlum. And this is by his action. He would take the money, and how much today we see people abusing money, funding or disfunding, important projects that, as people in America we need and normal people need. Imam Ali would take the Baytul Mal, and he would come and broom it. And after he would separate it to everyone in need, he would pray 2 units of salat where all the treasury, all the money was. I want you to imagine from Africa to the Middle East, all of that zakat or all of that money is coming for Imam Ali alayhi salam. He distributes it very fairly. And then he tells gold, ya safra, or he tells silver, ya bayda. He doesn't call gold and silver. He says, oh yellow, oh white, ghurri ghayri. Go and try to fool someone else. You cannot fool Ali ibn Abi Talib. He tells gold yellow and silver white. Go and fool someone else. And he distributes this to the orphans. He distributes this to the needy. He many times himself would be hungry. He would not get income from the Baytul Mal, but distribute it. So this is the second way that Imam Ali alayhi salam guides us, is that through his actions. One of the scholars says if other religions had Imam Ali and the likes of Imam Ali, they would rule the world right now. If they really had. But we have this and we're not doing justice. We should be spreading these stories, these examples throughout America. People would love this. The third example, so we don't make it long tonight, is how Imam Ali alayhi salam guides us from the heart, guides us from the soul. And this is what we need. And this is how we believe that in some of the ziyarat, they call Imam Ali alayhi salam Dinullah, for example. He is the religion of Allah. He is the Sirat al-Mustaqim. He is the right path. Because Imam Ali, his love, his walayat will change your soul, will make you and take you towards Tawheed. If a person wants to reach Allah, how can he? He has to go through walayat. He has to understand the Imams, the Prophets. The Ziyarat al-Jama'a says, Man arad Allah bada'a bikum. Whoever wants Allah starts with you, Ahlul Bayt. Whoever wants to seek Allah needs to have the love of Imam Ali alayhi salam in his heart. Once they asked Ahmad ibn Hanbal, school of the Hanbalis, they say, is it true that Ali ibn Abi Talib is qasimul nar wal jannah? Is it true that he is the separator of heaven and earth? This is in the book Taba'iqul Hanabila. And he says, yes. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he says, yes, yes. He says, how so? How can Imam Ali be the separator of heaven and hell? He says, where is the place of someone who loves Imam Ali alayhi salam? What does he have? He says, the tradition has hubbuhu iman. The love of Imam Ali is iman. And he says, how about bughd of Ali? What happens when a person has hatred of Imam Ali? Bughduhu is equal to nifaq. This is Shia and Sunni all say this. If God forbid, someone hates Imam Ali, he's a hypocrite. If somebody loves Imam Ali, he is a mu'min. And he says, then he asks, where is the place of the mu'min? He says, heaven. Where is the place of the munafiq, the hypocrite? Hell. So therefore, he is qasimun nar wal jannah. He is the separator of heaven and hell. Please recite salawat ala Muhammad. Tonight, a present for you. that I love to read this hadith. It is a saying from Imam Ali AS. And just who knows Shaykh al-Saduq? Shaykh al-Saduq is one of our main authors of books of hadith. He lived around something like 1200 years ago, Shaykh al-Saduq. Maybe you've heard of the book Man La Yahduruhu al-Faqih. This is one of our 4 main books of hadith. Maybe you've heard of Al-Kafi, of course, Al-Kulaini, and the other 2 books are from Shaykh al-Tusi. Before Shaykh al-Saduq was born, they say his father wanted a child. Maybe he's like 40 or 50 years old. He doesn't have a son. He doesn't have a child. And he writes to one of the Nawab of Imam al-Zaman, Ajjallahu ta'ala faraju, I think it's Hussein ibn Ruh, and he says, ask the Imam for a child for me. You know, Shaykh al-Saduq's father himself was from the ulama. And then the Imam writes back to him that he will have a son that is Mubarak. He will have a son who has blessings. And Shaykh al-Saduq, mashallah, when he was born, later he wrote 300 books. 300 books. And he himself would say, I am from the du'as of Imam al-Zaman. I was born from the dua of Imam al-Zaman. Because his father asked Hussein ibn Ruh, one of the ambassadors back then, to pray for him. And so when he is born, he wrote so many different books. One of his books I recommend for you to read more about Imam al-Zaman and what is happening now in Syria, Sufyani, all of these have it, is Kamaluddin wa Tamamu Ni'mah of Shaykh al-Saduq. Kamaluddin wa Tamamu Ni'mah, it's translated in English, 2 volumes, it's in Al-Islam. Anyways, this is from Amali, Shaykh al-Saduq. Amali in Arabic and Farsi we say Imla. Imla means maybe you have it in Urdu as well, when a teacher says something and they write down what he's saying, Imla. So the books of Amali is when a teacher would teach and the students would write down word for word. This tradition is from Amali as-Saduq, and it talks about, and the purpose I'm saying this is the 3rd type of guidance, is the guidance of Amir al-Mu'mineen, of the heart, of the spirit, of how someone that is Ali Shanas, Ali Dust, his tawheed will be different than somebody else. It's beautiful. Rasulullah mentions Aliyun fi as-sama'i as-sabi'a ka-shams bin nahar. Ali alayhi salam in the 7th heaven. That is the reality, right? 7th heaven is the reality. In the 7th heaven, Ali is the sun, as how it is in the day. Ali is the sun. Rasulullah is mentioning. وَفِي السَّمَاءِ الدُّنْيَا كَالْقَمَرِ بِاللَّيْلِ. But in the sama, in the heaven of the dunya, he's like the moon at night. Then he mentions here, أَعْطَى اللَّهُ عَلِيًّا مِنَ الْفَضْلِ جُزْءًا لَوْ قُسِمَ عَلَى أَهْلِ الْأَرْضِ لَوَسَعَهُمْ. Allah has given Imam Ali so much fadilat, so much virtue. If you took this virtue upon all of the people on the earth, right now how many people do we have living? 8 billion, something like that? How many people ever lived on earth? Maybe 100 billion, 80 billion? If you took the fadilat apart, part of the fadilat of Imam Ali, and you spread it to 8 billion parts, to 100 billion parts, you would have to increase the earth just so they could have 1 part of the fadilat of Imam Ali alayhi salam. This is tradition from Imam Ali AS. Allah has given Imam Ali min al-fahm, from understanding, from knowledge. لَوْ قُسِمَ عَلَى أَهْلِ الْأَرْضِ لَوَسَعَهُمْ. If Allah wanted to divide the knowledge of Imam Ali, imagine knowledge of one person, and divide into 8 billion part of his knowledge. You divide it into 8 billion parts or 100 billion parts, you would have to again increase the world, because the world is incapable of holding the knowledge of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. He continues in the narration, Anisani bihi Rabbi, my Lord gave me comfort through Imam Ali. Rasulullah got uns. Anisani is from uns, love, comfort, calmness. Interesting tradition from Kharazmi, Ahlul Sunnah. He says, when Rasulullah did Mi'raj, Allah spoke to Rasulullah, place where no prophet could come. He saw Prophet Musa, Prophet Isa. I believe one of the last positions was the position of Prophet Ibrahim. Some say that is why, possibly Prophet Ibrahim is from the highest of the prophets besides our prophet. Finally, he left a place where Jibreel could not come. And then he had private talk with Allah. But Allah is going to speak with Rasulullah because this is physical. It's not just spiritual. This is physical. He uses a voice. He uses a medium. In what tone of voice did he use? He uses the tone of voice of Imam Ali. Because in the tradition it says that we wanted and we thought of, for example, which voice caused you the most comfort? Which voice did you like the most? We spoke in that voice. So it says, Anisani bihi Rabbi. Allah gave me comfort through Imam Ali. Rasulullah is saying. It was the comfort of Rasulullah. He is the comfort of us, comfort of Rasulullah. فَسَأَلْتُ رَبِّي أَلَّا يَقْبِضَهُ قَبْلِي. So I loved him so much. I asked Allah, don't take him away before me. This is what Rasulullah and Shaykh Saduq says, don't take Ali away before me. I want to die first. I don't want to die, have Imam Ali die before me. Because Imam Ali would be the front runner in the battles. Rasulullah was worried for him because of his shuja'at, fighting marhab, the likes of these champions, that some of these champions would kill 100 people. They would fight against 100 people alone. But Imam Ali would come and split them in half. So Rasulullah was worried for Imam Ali because of his courage. Some of his battles, he would have 70 scars in one battle. Shaykh Saduq later on says, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, at the end of his life, they counted all the wounds and scars he has. It was 1,000 scars on his body. Rasulullah was worried, so he asked Allah, don't take away Imam Ali alayhi salam before me. But then he says this, وَسَأَلْتَهُ and يَقْبِضَهُ shahidan ba'di. But I still wanted shahadat for Imam Ali. So I said, give him shahadat, martyrdom, but after me. Give him martyrdom, but after me. Continues in this hadith, Aliyun minni wa ana min Ali. Ali is from me and I am from Ali. Shia Sunni, they bring this tradition. Ali is from me, I am from Ali alayhi salam. لم يمشي على الأرض ماش بعد إلا هو أكرم منه عزا وفخرا. After me, nobody will walk this earth who has more kirama and honor than Ali, that has more fakhr and izzat than Ali alayhi salam. Nobody will be more honorable after me that walks on earth after Ali alayhi salam. Then he continues, very beautiful hadith. وَلَمْ يَنْزَلْ مَنْزِلًا إِلَّا كَانَ مَيْمُونًا. Wherever Ali alayhi salam would stop, wherever he would walk, that place would be a place of blessing. Wherever Ali alayhi salam would walk, that place would be a place of blessing. فَزَيَّنَ اللَّهُ بِهِ الْمَحَافِلِ. So Allah made the mahafil. Mahafil are gatherings. Allah adorned and beautified the gatherings through Imam Ali. And now tonight, you see how beautiful this mahfil is for Imam Ali is because he is mentioned. So therefore, any gathering you have, any place you meet each other and you do dhikr of Ali, that majlis, that gathering will be adorned, will be zinat. زَيَّنَهُ اللَّهُ بِهِ الْمَحَافِلِ وَأَكْرَمَ بِهِ الْعَسَاكِرِ. And Allah gave honor to the fighters and warriors through Imam Ali alayhi salam. Whenever we see the fighters and defenders, as today you see, they fight against oppression and dhulm, because Rasulullah 1400 years ago says, Allah has honored the armies and the fighters through Imam Ali alayhi salam. And the tawassul, they say, and they mention Haydar, they mention who his mom had mentioned and named him. That is when the enemies get scared when they hear Haydar. وَأَخْصَبَ بِهِ الْبِلَادِ. And wherever Imam Ali is, Allah will give blessings and will make fertile that land. وَعَزَّ بِهِ الْأَجْنَادِ مَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْبَيْتِ اللَّهِ الْحَرَامِ. His example is the example of Baytullah, the holy Kaaba. Why? يُزَارُ وَلَا يَزُورُ. You visit the Kaaba. Kaaba doesn't come to you. You have to change your life. You have to love Imam Ali. You have to want him to lead you so that he can guide you. When you decide to go to Hajj, you go towards Hajj. Hajj does not come towards you. You have to be willing to sacrifice for Imam Ali. And if they did, the world would have been a beautiful place. Sometimes we see that Imam Hussein alayhi salam, in some of the books that has been changed a little bit for different reasons, in one of the sad parts, one of the ulama that gives a lot of members for Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam in Iran, he was saying that, I believe it's in maybe Maqtal al-Kharazmi, that Imam Hussein alayhi salam, one of the sad parts where he falls and they hit him with a trident arrow and he takes from the back, there is when he curses those that had did dhulm to Imam Ali alayhi salam. That is when he believes that this spear, this arrow that hit him, the root cause of this is Saqifa. Those who derailed from Imamat caused Ashura to happen. One of our great scholars, Muhammad Hussein Isfahani, Qarawi Isfahani, beautifully mentions, وَمَا رَمَيْتْ إِذْ رَمَيْتْ Harmala. He says, Harmala wasn't the one who shot Ali Asghar. He says, this is a sahmin min janib al-Khalifa. This was a sahm that came from Saqifa. So therefore we understand from this that people had to follow. If they followed Imam Ali alayhi salam, jinn and ins, everyone would go into heaven. The world would become a beautiful place. And every dhulm and oppression, honestly I'm saying this, that we see today is because people of Medina decided to leave the Kaaba, decided to leave Imam Ali. Or else he would do what Imam Mahdi Ajallahu Ta'ala Fajr is promised to. He would have done it right then. But we have to go towards Imam Ali. And that is my last thing that I'm going to say tonight, is that how can we make Imam Ali alayhi salam part of our lives, that we really visit him, that he is a part of our lives. I'll end with this hadith, if you give me a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa Imam Ali Amir al-Mu'mineen says, I am afraid of two things for you. Two things I'm afraid of. And this applies to us today. What is Imam Ali warning us? Again, we want to live a Alawi life. Two things I'm afraid of. طول الأمل وإتباع الهوى. Long dreams and following the desires. Long dreams is this. It's okay to have plans. You should have plans. As if you're going to have, a million years of life. You should plan for yourself, for your family. This is very good. To study hard, to work hard. But the problem is طول الأمل, which means to have these long dreams of aspirations as if I'm always going to be in this world. Let me give you an example. When you go to a hotel and you check into that hotel, then you check out of that hotel, do you really care how the cabinets are going to be exactly? Are you thinking of painting that hotel room? Or think of making it up? Or you just want to spend the night there and go on to the next day? You don't want to go and build and remodel this because you say, I'm just transient. He says, in the same way, the dunya is like this for us. This house you live in is the same way as like a hotel room. Soon you'll be leaving, you'll be checking out. Now we go and build it, remodel it, make dua for it all the time. How much attachment we have. Yes, loss of homes is sad, very sad. But I want to give you an example. Once they came to Ayatollah al-Uzma Bahjat, and they said that your home is in one of the zones where the city needs to destroy. And he says, oh, my home is in one of the cities. He's a mujtahid scholar. Maybe if there's another scholar, you'd say, make a few phone calls and say, who is this person that can destroy the house of Ayatollah Bahjat? He goes and comes back, and they say that he has some of his belongings ready. He says, okay, I'm ready to move out. They said, we didn't say now. No, you don't have to move out of your house now. We're just saying it's in the zone. We're just saying that. For him, his house had no attachments even to his house. That if they said move, go somewhere else, he has Allah. Allah will protect him. He has a few belongings and let's go. That's it. Why? Because he's a zahid. He has no attachment. And that is what zuhd means. Zuhd means that Imam Ali AS mentions that nothing owns you. Not that you don't own anything, that nothing owns you. They'd say, Allah commands, take this house. You say, Inna lillah. This belongs to Allah. Thank you very much for letting me use it. This belongs to Allah. I'm saying this is very high levels. So Imam Ali warns us of falling into the trap that so many people have done today. And that is this race for materialism. That you look at people's cars, you look at people's homes, you look at their zip code, and you want that zip code, you want that car, you want to build, you want that business, you want that extravagance, those vacations. And instead of having a race, how Quran says, وَاسْتَبَقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ or فَاسْتَبَقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ, instead of racing each other for khairat and doing good, you race each other for the dunya. This is what the leadership says. This is what I'm saying is from the leadership. He says that people today are racing in living a luxury life instead of racing for good action. So don't have tulul amal. And I tell myself this. Learn a little bit from your imam, who when he tells the governor of Basra, he gets upset with him and says, why were you in this meeting with different foods of different color with large bowls? Why were you in this meeting? He was criticizing to him, while your imam only had 2 articles of clothing. He tells him, though, you cannot be like me, though. But remember, your imam was a humble imam. Your imam was a zahid imam. Again, zuhd doesn't mean you don't own anything, but that you're not attached. Your focus should be for the hereafter building, because Imam Ali AS says, this world is a bridge. Do not build the bridge, pass it. Whatever you have for the dunya, use it, but to do good with it. The second thing, we'll end tonight with this. Imam Ali says, the reason why tulul amal, I'm afraid, it says it causes you to forget the akhirat. When you think of the world, to build, what do I forget? The akhirah. What about there? My world now is built, but my grave, my next world is not built. The second is ittaba al-hawa, following the lower desires. I'm afraid of the lower desires. It says kum, so I imagine it's for the followers of Ali Muhammad, you guys, ourselves. Be careful of following the lower desires. Don't be like me, someone like me. Do not follow the lower desires. Why? Imam Ali AS says, Yasuddu anil haq. This prevents you from the truth. Because if you're a man of the nafs and lower desires, you will never stand up for the truth. You never do what is right. You'll always justify things. You never fight for the oppressed. You'll be too afraid because you don't want to lose the dunya. You'll never take somebody's right and give it to him. So many people, unfortunately, I know, in masjid centers, very good brothers, sisters, when they come to masjid. But did you ever do business with some of them? Did you ever get ripped off, God forbid, from somebody from masjid? This happens. Why? Because ittiba'ul hawa. They cannot control themselves. Our Sheikh Ahmad al-Mushtahid would say, the example of the Lord desires, example of the fish, of the cat. Cats in general are afraid of water. You want to put them in water, they don't like it, for example. But if you put a little fish in that pond, it'll jump into it. It won't care about water anymore because the nafs, the lower desires, say, get that fish, he doesn't care. We are in the same way. If, God forbid, we do not control our lower desires, you'll see that little fish, that temptations, and we'll dive head first. To get that, we'll break all the rules. So be careful of the lower desires. Train, teach your children at a young age, mothers, fathers, that whatever their lower desires want, don't give it to them. Let them work for it. Let them earn it. You don't have to spoil them. When you spoil them, you're creating a dangerous dragon within, which is called the nafs. You're creating a strong opponent, which the tradition says is our worst enemy. But yet our ulama, our imams, the scholars, they've always said, fight against the nafs, fight against the lower desires. When you fight against the lower desires, you will be able to produce a community, a nation, that nobody will infringe on the rights of others. You see today in the fire, for example, when somebody does not work on themselves, what happens? Fire is burning. People are evacuating. Instead of helping them out, they help them out in a different way. They take all their belongings for them, but they never give it back to them. That's the sad thing. They take the belongings, say, we'll help you with your TV, we'll help you with your car, we'll help you, don't worry, this won't burn, but I'm going to take it for myself. That is what happens when a person doesn't work on themselves. Instead of coming together and fighting the fire, or fighting and helping them evacuate, this is what happens to society, that they have to bring the national and the state guard to stop people's homes and TVs and jewelry from being stolen when there's fire. So we are living in a time where these two things I advise you and myself to not have long dreams of the material and to protect ourselves from the lower desires. I wish you, inshallah, a very blessed wala'adat of Imam Ali alayhi salam. I pray that we can all do his ziyarat, inshallah, visit him, and that inshallah we can all have his shafa'at, inshallah, that one day they will come to us, as the tradition says, that Malakul Maut is angel of death, is yataraham, has so much mercy upon that person who loves Ali alayhi salam, as if, for example, he's taking the soul of one of the prophets. He's going to be so merciful. He says he loves Ali alayhi salam and the respect of Amir al-Mu'minin. Inshallah, we can qualify to have, inshallah, such a status. May Allah bless all of our marhumeen, inshallah, all of those who have raised us with the love of Imam Ali alayhi salam, because this love we have, we owe our mothers, our fathers, our grandparents. It's their du'as. May Allah protect all of our children and progeny all the way to the Day of Judgment. When you make dua, do it complete. Forgive our forefathers all the way to the prophets, and give wilayat and love of Ahlul Bayt all the way to our descendants to the Day of Judgment, inshallah. Allah answer everyone's dua because of Imam Ali alayhi salam, all the different hawa'ij we have. Give protection to those who live in our city. Have this bala and this chastisement of the fire away, inshallah, from us and from us in the akhirat, inshallah. May Allah expedite the return of the Imam al-Zaman, make us of his soldiers, inshallah, and inshallah make us of those who truly he is satisfied with. Please recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.